Good evening. I hope we're all doing well tonight, and we've had a good week so far. So tonight, if you'd like to go ahead and open up your Bibles, we'll be in Luke chapter 10. That's where we'll be most of the night tonight, Luke chapter 10. Earlier this week, when I was trying to think of what I'd like to talk about tonight, and with Christmas being so soon, I thought of something that maybe we could apply to the holidays, and I thought about this quote: "It is better to give than to receive. It is better to give than to receive." And I think about how hard that can be for people in general. It really takes a selfless mindset to really believe that it is greater to give more than you receive. Selflessness runs counter to human nature, which is why being selfless is so much more difficult than being selfish. I want us to really dive into the text tonight just for a minute and learn from some examples of selflessness in the Bible. So in Luke chapter 10, we see the story of the Good Samaritan, which most of us are familiar with, but I'll summarize verses 29 through 32, which is saying that Jesus is telling a parable, and he says that a man has been stripped and beaten by robbers and left to die on the side of the road. And a priest passed by the man, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. And then likewise, a Levite did the same, passing by on the other side of the road when he saw him. And then I'll pick up reading in verse 33, which says, "But a Samaritan, as he journeyed, came to where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion. He went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he set him on his own animal and brought him to an inn and took care of him. And the next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper, saying, 'Take care of him, and whatever more you spend, I will repay you when I come back.'" We see the selflessness and compassion of the Samaritan in these verses. He immediately stopped, bound up his wounds, put him on his own donkey, and took him to an inn. And then he told the innkeeper that he would come back and repay him any additional money that he would spend helping the man. So tonight, I'd like us to try something a little different tonight. Take just a minute with me and put yourself in Jesus' shoes. So you're Jesus, and you're in the Garden of Gethsemane, and Judas betrays you with a kiss. Jesus knew what was about to happen. He knew the pain and agony that he was about to have to experience. And then you were put on that cross after all the wrong that they have done to you. Jesus could have said many things. You could say many things. What would you say? Jesus chose to say, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they have done. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they have done." I have a feeling that most of that we would have said something a little different. But Jesus knew what had to be done. He died on that cross for you and me, but he also died for Judas, the person who had just betrayed him. I believe that this is the ultimate example of selflessness. The Christian is expected to love the unlovable, just as Jesus still loved and died for Judas. Jesus displays an action that truly shows selflessness. He laid down his life for the person who betrayed him and killed him. Jesus came to this earth not for his own benefit, but for ours. He came to minister and ultimately die for us. Mark chapter 10, verse 45 tells us, "For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." And then most importantly, selflessness involves more than putting other people first, but it is putting God first. As John chapter 3, verse 30 tells us, "He must become greater, I must become less. He must become greater, I must become less." So through this Christmas holiday, I hope that we can apply something from this lesson to our lives, knowing that it's only through Jesus Christ that we can truly live a selfless life. At this time, whatever your need may be, please come while we stand and while we sing.